Hi, my name is John McFetrich, and welcome to my video on an exciting new era of computer programming called Vibe Programming. Here, um, we are introduced to natural language programming, where instead of writing code, we are just able to chat to an application like Cursor and tell it what we want. It's simply amazing. Um, I'm super impressed. This video will lead us through the creation of a Flutter web application. Now, I use Flutter because it's a great cross-platform solution from Google that allows us to create applications that will run across Windows, Mac, Linux, and the web. Now, and you only have to write the application once, and the UI is completely transportable. Now, in many applications need to have authentication services, and I'm going to provide these through Firebase. So I'm going to show you how you can use the Visual Studio based, the VS Code based cursor to accomplish this. Now hold on, because I think this is pretty exciting, or at least I think it is. And I've been programming for at least 40 years, and go back to the Stone Age, the days when it's amazed I survived, when we actually had to use punch cards. God, and then sometimes you would drop the card deck. Oh no. Anyways, now, and I never thought we would evolve to this state where any programming language can be generated from natural language chatting, because we're these things like tools like Cursor, and of course there's other ones like Windsurf, are using a large language model. And so if you're a software developer, the winds of change are blowing. Make sure you are one with this AI move. Otherwise, you're going to get left in the dust. I hope you enjoy this video. A little background. I've been writing software for a long time. I guess from back when I was a kid back in the 70s. And things, if you can, well, that shows that I go back to the beginning of time almost. And back when I'm sure nobody remembers, we had things like punch cards and these mainframes that would fill up a whole room, and then a film room, and then they could even catch on fire, and they would have the power of maybe less than the power of my Apple Watch. Anyways, I'm still writing software into my old age, and loving it. And now, but of course, like many, I'm discovering that, golly, as much as I like coding, I may not have to do it anymore. These tools are becoming so good that I can just I use natural language and just tell it what I want done. Now, it doesn't always get it exactly right, but it's with a little, but it's very good at recognizing errors and fixing them. So, anyways, yeah, I'm not going to show you a simple app. I'm going to show you one that has a multiple tier application. It has a UI, and it has a back end. The UI is written in a thing called Flutter. Now, many of you might not know what Flutter is, but I suggest you maybe look into it, because it's a wonderful cross-platform tool from Google that will let you generate code that runs across iOS, Windows, Linux, and the web. But that's not what I'm doing this, so I will leave it to you to dive into this wonderful and discover this wonderful platform. I'm going to assume, but I will assume no knowledge of it, but because we don't have to write any code. Anyways, at the back end, we're going to use Firebase. Now, I must admit, I'm a Microsoft back-end guy, and years of experience in SQL Server and object relational models. However, we're not doing this. I'm using Firebase, which is Google's database and file system, and most importantly, authentication. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put together this simple authentication application, which I'm showing my wonderful UI right here. This was generated, and I'll show you how to do it. And we'll say, oh, we want we're going to create a new account. We need to just make up anything, and this will become my user and a password 1 2 3 4 5 6. And let's say we don't do that right. Oh, the password don't match. Well, I wrote no code. That was all. That was all generated. So I hit the register button, and now I'm registered as A at abc.com. Now, in a real application, of course, that would take me somewhere meaningful, but this is just a test. So we generate the authentication code was all done for us and generated. How was it done? I'm using Cursor. Of course, now we have to install the bits we need for these applications. And the first thing we need is Flutter. Now, again, it's this cross-platform development platform from Google. And it's a wonderful environment in its own. It just lets you create these applications that'll run across multiple devices like iOS, Windows, Android, and looks pretty darn good in all of them. So you don't have to struggle with having 4 or 5 different versions of your app. You only write the UI once, and Bob's your uncle. So now, and you install it from this URL here. Now, I've installed I'm on a Windows 11 machine, and so I've installed the bits for Windows, and I picked the web application because in this case, now you could do multiple, of course, but I'm only doing a web version. So install that. Then the second thing I need to, of course, install is Cursor. Now, Cursor is a fork of Visual Studio Code, the Microsoft open source product. Now, and it's a fork, but it's a wonderful fork that uses AI in the chat window to be able to almost, and we'll soon see. And you kind of look at this tool as your assistant, and you sit there and you say, "Gee, can you do this for me?" And then you sit and watch and marvel most of the time. But we'll see. There like anything else, there will be some issues. So we download the parts. Now my objective is to be able to add authentication to my Flutter application. And in the past, I've used Windows Windows services on .NET on my back end and used the authentication services built into .NET. And yeah, that works nicely, particularly if you're an old Windows hack like me. But this and I must say that C# and Dart are very similar. My learning curve here to learn Dart was very short. So we add those parts, and then we have to add our Firebase, play with set up our Firebase. Our Firebase, this is Google's cloud authentication and storage all rolled into one. And I've set this up with multiple applications, but one of the ones that I have here is Fire 2. And it's the one it's going to have the services that we want. And the idea here is you have to connect your UI, my Flutter UI, to the authentication services that Fire 2 has. And Fire 2, we have authentication. We're using authentication services and database. Well, actually, I'm not using the database, and there are different sign-in methods here. I'm using the email/password. You can ask for new providers, but let's just keep this simple. We're only using the email and password. So, and if we look at the overview of our project, we will see some key things that we later our configuration here. This will be the keys or the values that we need to communicate between our Firebase application, our Flutter application, and our Firebase. Now, and we're going to use and Flutter nicely. There are plugins. Flutter provides some plugins called Firebase, Flutter-based, and they are what's going to perform most of the magic. But we really don't have to need this because we're going to use our new friend Cursor to do most of this work for us. So these are the bits we need, and we'll just pause right here. So I've started up my Cursor application on Windows 11, and you'll notice over here on the right side we have our chat window, and this is the chat window is where we get the power of the large language model behind this. Now, again, it's a lot like Copilot, and but it's better. This thing is really is quite amazing what it can do. So the first thing we do is I'm going to create my new project. So I hit the open project, and I already have. Now I need to be careful here because of a Flutter issue here. I have to make sure I'm in a direct folder that I have read-write privileges to. So, and I know this Flutter project does. So I'm going to choose this Fireflut folder, and this is going to be the folder we're going to build our application. So this just opens up the folder, and the folder is where these bits are going to be built for us, not by us. We're not going to do anything. We're just going to ask good old Cursor to do it. And so I would say create a Flutter. Now I'm going to say web app, making sure we're specific. That uses Firebase authentication services. Now I'm going to say build separate the. I want to be specific here. We're going to say separate the UI from the services. So they'll be hopefully in separate folders. Then services, and provide a new user registration which I think it might do anyways. Registration page. So now it's going off and it's doing some work here. Oh, it's asking us to run the Flutter create, and notice it's saying web. It's the platform is web. So we hit the run button, and of course this is all occurring in the magic of our chat window. And on the left, we start to see our application appear, our Flutter application appear. Now we'll accept this file and let's change it. Now it's now creating the Firebase service class, and now it's going to create our registration page. Very nice. So I just sit here and watch it perform, and I guess it's kind of like watch and learn. Now it's generating a simple home screen. And the Firebase routing is going to be in our main page. Let's see. Now, let's do this. The Flutter pub get was just going out and getting all the dependencies for our application. Now, there could be an issue here, and I'll explain it. So, let's go over here on the left side and see what it did. Oh, it created a home screen and a registration screen. And here is the services. The services, here is where we get the connection between our application, the code that is going to talk to the Firebase backend, and using this, the Firebase auth service. And our sign up with email and password was generated for us. Very nice. Our main.dart will accept all these changes here. We're just going to this will just bring up a demo. Now let's see. So things are looking pretty good, except the file. Yeah, I like the fact that it's given us some separation of concerns right out of the box, much the way I would do it if I was writing the app myself, but I no longer have to do that. Wonderful. Now we can't just run this, because if you look down here in the registration, in the here it's telling you what we need to do. In fact, if we look over here, clean architecture, to get the app working, we can create the Firebase project. We've already done that. So enable authentication. I've already done that. Then set up the email password sign in. So it's telling me the steps. Get your Firebase configuration. This is the part I need to go back to my service and find those values. And so here, again, I'm here back on my Firebase server, and I'm getting my configuration information from my project settings. And we can do these one by one, but silly old me. Of course, I need to make sure I get the whole thing. And then I'm going to just copy this string over to and replace the options here. And I go Control V. Now I have the API key, which it doesn't. Oh, I know. Let's. I did that wrong. Undo. It's here. Gee, I almost had to write some code. No, I cut and paste some configuration information. So, but I don't. This is But I know there's a problem. And I'm gonna tell you, because I've been banging my head. These you got to watch these. If we look at if we do we got to make sure we have I'm running. Let's go back here and bring up a terminal. And I wanted to see what my Flutter version is. It's pretty recent, and it's only like two weeks old. I think 3.32. So if I run this now, this application is going to break. And let's just show you this. In fact, I'm just going to instead of doing any, I'm going, because this is kind of I think educational. So I'm going to do a Flutter run, and this is going to start my application in Chrome. Now it's going to go build my application using all the generated bits. And we'll try and launch this in Chrome. Yes, and this is where we get into a nasty error here. Well, maybe it's not that nasty. And the so the error the error, the methyl handle venable, whatever that isn't defined. Well, obviously, some of there's a library mismatch here. The problem is that and there's in fact cursor will tell you kind of what the problem is. But it doesn't know the exact right answer. So because if I go over here and we're learning here, I type that into the chat. Yeah, there's a version mismatch. Now, but from my experience, and it's telling you what to do. Unfortunately, it doesn't give you the right. Remember, these are large language models that the information is not quite up to date. This 3.32 is so new that we won't. In fact, it's still doing a pub get, and let's take a look at here. And when we do, the nice thing about pub get is it'll show us what's the most recent versions of what we need. So the core, it's saying it said it's 2.25 is, well, I know from experience that is not right. And there are more recent, and the more recent are, in fact, where the auth is 5.5. Yeah, so the auth here, we have to change the auth to, let's just hard code it to this copy, and then we're going to go here and replace this with Control V, and that's the 5.5. And the core, let's see, core is 2.32, a little closer, but no cigars. So we're going to put this in here as 2.32.0, or was it 0? Yes. So now, just for, I don't think that matters. Let's the fire store, but let's just we actually had to do some work. Darn. 4.17. Okay. Let's just update this. Okay, now we're going to do a clean here just to make sure that we have reset our dependencies and have nothing left over. Flutter clean, and this will wipe out our get rid of our build directory. So now if we go back in here and we do pub get, we'll get our new dependencies. And we should have we should have the Firebase libraries that we need to run with 3.32. So now we should be good to run again and try this out. Run Chrome, and let's see what happens. So we've got a running application. So, and this is really interesting. So what, so it's created this simple authentication gave me pretty well a really good start for my authentication code. If I want to, I can create a new user here, so I can say J at abc.com. Now this and the password 1 2 3 4 5 and the confirm before and you go register. Oh, two problems. No, it has generated this code. I didn't have to do anything. It run the test. In fact, I think if I went in here and said like J and register, I think we would have one more error. So it's given us all the validation rules have been built into this, or at least a good start. I'm sure we can think of more. And then, so we can go in here and we can register. Let's do this where we have J, and but the bottom line is that we could go back here and say we already have an account and we can log in, and that'll take us to let us log in with an existing user, and but all that code was generated for us. We didn't have to do anything, and so now of course we want to add more functionality here. Let's and we're going to briefly look at how we can pretty up our home page, but we're going to do it with just capturing a UI from another application, and again, not writing any code. So let's just pause here. So I didn't quite like how it generated my application, because I really want to have a separate login and registration page. So I said, okay, good buddy, how can I want you to create a separate login page and modify the registration page to work together with it, and also create a simple welcome screen. Actually, no, sorry, that was its response. My request was, can you produce a separate login page and registration page? The login will have a registration button to navigate to the registration page, and a forget password button. On a successful login, the user is navigated to a new screen that says "Hello World." So it did this, and it shows me the steps. It updated auth services here to add a reset password method that'll call that service on our back end, and then created a simple welcome page which just says hello, and finally it updates the main.dart. Now, and it shows us what it did. Very nice, except it didn't work. I was let's see what happened. Here I run the application and I get this error when I hit the register. Cannot find a generator. No. Ooh, wow, okay, I'm not sure. But so what do? Well, I go over and I do a screen capture of that error message, and I plug this into Cursor. And this is unbelievable. So I paste that error message into Cursor, then I ask it, what's the error? And then it said, oh, it indicates that your app is trying to navigate to the root/home, but you have not defined a home root in the material app. Currently, our defined roots are login, register, and welcome. Well, let's look at, that's weird. Okay, so armed with this information, because over here, of course, it's telling us to change any occurrence of home into welcome. So I found these, of course, in that registration screen. So I made those changes and I rerun my application, and things look pretty darn good. Let's just run it once more, and so now if I go to register, oh, sorry, let's so you can see it. Let's go and hit the register button, and I'll go H at who cares, a.ca, and password permit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now if I hit the register button, it's going to take us now to hello world. Well, in this case it should have been probably back into login, but who cares? Just the idea is that it generated, gave me all that authority code, and it generated everything I needed pretty well. Now I have to make some minor tweaks, but that saves me so much time. And the debugging, I just grab that error, pop it back into cursor, and it immediately solved my issue. Beautiful. Now, we're going to add one last step. We're going to look at how to improve the look at the welcome page by actually stealing the look and feel from another application and seeing how easy this is to do. So stay tuned. So I'm going to capture the UI from Camtasia. I sort of like this sidebar here. So I use my cut and paste tool, my Windows snipping tool to capture this, and then I take and I copy it into my whoops, let's just get rid of this guy, and so I'm going to I'm going to paste this image into cursor, and then I'm going to say change the welcome page to look like this UI, and it does it, and it does it almost perfectly. So now when I look at my application, and this is awesome, this blows me away. If I can get this stupid thing to. Okay, so now if I log in to my application, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, oh now you know my password. So I go log in. Boom, boom. Incredible. That all. Now you might guess that it just took and put the image in my view on the left side, but no, that's not the case. And it actually generates code, and the code will look like these Flutter sidebar items. And to just prove this further, what I did, I went in here and I said to the record button, what's it called, a record button. And on the record button, I want to have, when that button is pressed, I want to display, I ask cursor to display a mountain scene in the right side. So cursor adds code to the record button, and it's going to use a free mountain image from the internet. And so, and it changes my code to look like this when I have it adds some code to set the state to show mountain, and if show mountain is true, let's find that. If show mountain is true, then it shows you my image in my right side. So now when I run the application, let's just go back and rerun my app here. So now we see this. There's no change, but we go over here and we click on the record button. Then we see our mountain scene. So just wanted to show you that this is real live code that was generated for Flutter, and it really I think this is incredible. When I think back to the how I started in this industry back 45 years ago, and I started using punch cards to this, when I can just, in the words of Jensen Young, NVIDIA, the programming becomes, we become natural language programmers. And anybody in the field who is not using these tools, I don't think has much of a future, because your productivity goes through the roof. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hi, my name is John McFetrich, and welcome to my video on an exciting new era of computer programming called Vibe programming. Here, we are introduced to natural language programming, where instead of writing code, we are just able to chat to an application like Cursor and tell it what we want. It's simply amazing. I'm super impressed. This video will lead us through the creation of a Flutter web application. Now, I use Flutter because it's a great cross-platform solution from Google that allows us to create applications that will run across Windows, Mac, Linux, and the web. Now, and you only have to write the application once, and the UI is completely transportable. Now, in many applications need to have authentication services, and I'm going to provide these through Firebase. So I'm going to show you how you can use the Visual Studio based the VS Code based Cursor to accomplish this. Now hold on, because I think this is pretty exciting, or at least I think it is. And I've been programming for at least 40 years, and go back to the Stone Age, the days when it's amazed I survived, when we actually had to use punch cards. God, and then sometimes you would drop the card deck. Oh no. Anyways, now, and I never thought we would evolve to this state where any programming language can be generated from natural language chatting, because these things like tools like Cursor, and of course there's other ones like Windsor, are using a large language model. And so if you're a software developer, the winds of change are blowing. Make sure you are one with this AI move. Otherwise, you're going to get left in the dust. I hope you enjoyed this video.